Hey, folks. So it's been a minute, but there's a lot of comics to talk about, a lot of stuff going on. Robert, why are there so many comics coming out right now?
It's too many. Comics,
But
video games, movies, everything. Everything is hitting at the same time.
but good problems.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I should just get a second job just for geek endeavors. Truthfully,
Mm.
I truly feel like that. Okay, so folks, we've got a Green Lantern with black on the whole hand, not even on the black hand side. The whole hand is black. We've got Green Lantern again, but the group. We're going to talk about the Atlanta Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo that Robert got a chance to be at. We're going to talk about the return of Bitterroot. Awesome.
Mhm.
And we're going to talk about the smash hit that has hit Saturday mornings on Cartoon Network, which I'm so happy and proud of, which is Iyanu, Child of Wonder, the animated series. All 4 episodes are out right now. I can't do. I'm not supposed to do that. I haven't taken a bump in my life. I shouldn't be able to do that. And more. Robert, are you ready?
I am so ready.
Folks, you already know what the drill is. I'm not even going to say it. Folks, what's up? This is TBA News, Comics, Culture, brought to you by the Hungry Bleak channel. I am, and did the lights just go out? Oh, I was like, I was like, please don't tell me the purge is happening right now because I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared for the purge right now. You can't have the purge and have fresh hot tea. That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Closer and closer each day. No.
Actually, in this corporation, no longer country, folks. Corporation, I
Mhm.
believe it. We're going to be giving you the best that's going on in comics right now with reviews and a couple of insights. But first, let's give our introductions. First, folks, I am Antonio Perez, aka the Hungry Bleak, the hungriest man in the room. Take that however you want. And with me, as always,
I am Robert J., writer extraordinaire and co-host of this illustrious podcast.
and also he also co-hosts a phenomenal Sliders podcast as well, sir.
Oh
I
man.
mean, let's talk about. I mean, let's give due where give when I'm telling you when they do a reboot, revival, whatever
Mhm.
manifestation it'll be in, they're gonna have you in there as a damn cameo of some sort. Like you'll be like a barista, or you'll be somebody like some type of Easter egg thing in the back. They might even have you dressed up in that old like crying man suit, like just dancing for no apparent reason, like
Hey.
just doing a step. Or you know what, you could be a fan in a line at an event for his
Mhm.
signature and wearing the suit as the camera pans by.
Yeah.
I'm giving you ideas already, Peacock. Let's make this happen.
Uh,
I'm saying. So, all right. So let's get into it because there's a lot of cool stuff going on. But you yourself, sir, being an incredible writer of a plethora of formats, you had the chance to be at Atlanta Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo. And how was
It was good. It's convention that started, wow, I'd say 4 years before 2020. So math is my thing. 2016.
it?
So let's say
I was
2016.
because I was sitting there like, is this a word problem? You
It's
throwing
like,
word problems at me at this time of night?
I think it's like,
Dastardly.
it started in either 2015, 2016. And they had to close up shop because of COVID. So for 4 or 5 years, ran pretty consistently. It was one of the best conventions in the city. And Tony K, who runs Challenges Games and Comics, and his team, they brought it back and for this year. So after like 5 years, and it felt like the convention didn't miss a beat. It was held at a different location. Before it was at North DeKalb Mall, which is now currently demolished, and now it's
Mm.
at a new mall called North Lake Mall, where Challenges Games and Comics has now relocated to. And the cool thing about the convention is that it's a free con for people who just want to come and visit, see the cosplay, go to the panels, and visit us, the vendors. But it also allows them to, when they come to us, to spend money or buy stuff or try out new stuff. So I think the appeal of it being a free convention, but also a pop culture, sci-fi, fantasy expo, drew people in who were familiar with it, who weren't familiar with it, but also we had a lot of people who showed up to the mall who, when they saw us, were like, "What is this?" So we got a lot of what is this traffic, which is always a plus. Overall, like I said, the weekend was pretty good. I paneled on, I think, 3 panels. One was about Sam Wilson, Sam Wilson's Captain America. We did a sliders panel with John McGuire. And the last panel was about freelance writing and independent comic book publishing. And that was done with John and William Satterwright of Stealth fame. Shout out to Will. And it was a good show. I know that sounds like a broken record, but with it having not been around for like the past 5 years, you kind of wonder, like, what is it going to be like? What's the traffic? Are people going to show up? Do they know about it? And I was happy to say that they did. It was a fun event, and I think that Tony and his team do a lot to provide a wide variety of different tracks and like panel tracks, attractions. I know they also had there was a cosplay ball, in addition to like board gaming, tabletop gaming, and it was a lot of really good stuff. So a little bit for everybody.
But that sounds great. I love the fact that people just showed up to the mall and then saw the event there and like, oh, let me check this out. I love that type of trap. Like, that's the beauty of having it in a public area and for it to be free.
Yeah.
That you will get people doing things like that. I remember they had something like that similar at the mall that was near me. And I didn't know about it. Me and my friend were just there one day and we were like, are they just having comics out here? And it was kind of like a little event, like mini con. People with tables, and they had they're long boxes. They're selling them for like $0.25 or whatever. I think they did have a couple of creatives there, but those events are great because you're getting people that are there specifically for it, but then you're also getting people that are just showing up, and it might just be, oh, I didn't know you guys were here, or it might be just like new fans that you can make and new readers, or just people coming in and going, oh, I didn't realize this was here, what have you, and then finding out about the shop or new stuff. So that's a great way to tie in and get some new readers and new fans out there. So congratulations on that whole thing, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And I personally, like I said, shout out to Tony. I told him and the team, they did a really good job just kind of seeing what happens behind the scenes with them putting it all together is amazing. And then seeing it just kind of, everything work out for those 2 days for the event was pretty nice. So once again, shout out Tony K and the team and Challenges Games and Comics.
Can't wait to hear about next year's event happening too. Just saying.
I'll be there. Like I said, I'll be there.
Robert's already at RSVP, folks. I'm saying y'all might want to. I mean, this type of event, like I would like when things like this happen, I'm like, okay, this is the date. I always look for dates really early, so I'm like, okay, that's the date. And I started taking off time from work because they're like, that was asked me. They're like, that's like you have like you're very specific about your days, and I'm like, well, first off, I mean, mind your business. Secondly, like, why are you asking me about my personal life? Thirdly, go away. I don't say all that, but I'm very like, it's usually like a weekend of like maybe a Friday to a Monday.
Yeah.
So I can have that time, do what I got to do, go to the events if it's more than 1 or 2 days. I do that. So I love that energy. I love the fact that it's a great positive event, incredible creators, team does an amazing job. It's awesome. And I'm glad that it's another event that's come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So awesome right there. What's something that I hope never has to come back because I hope it stays with us for a long period of time is Iyanu, Child of Wonder. This is on Cartoon Network. This segues will not stop. It's on Cartoon Network, but it streams the next day on Max. This is from Unique Studios and Lion Forge Studios, I want to say.
Yeah. Or Lion Forge Animation, I think.
Anyways, thank you. This is this was so awesome because I
Mhm.
didn't realize it. I when people were talking to me about it, I say, "Oh, well, it's like a Saturday morning cartoon has that feel." Because people ask me about the art because everyone's so used to more like anime style art right now.
Mhm.
So I'm like, well, no, it has that Saturday morning feel, and I believe it's going to be for adults and children. It'll be across the board. I love that feeling. I didn't know it was literally going to be on Saturday mornings. I did not know. I was expecting it to be like at night because that's everything I think of premiering is at night.
Yeah.
Because I'm 47 years old, everything is at night now. That's it. So I was like, I was at work and I was like, I was getting alerts because I have the alerts on, folks. I do. I'm not playing about this stuff. And I was like, yeah, I know it's going to be on tonight. And it said 9:30. I said, wait, hold on, wait, what? It was on, and it was a 3 episode premiere,
Mhm.
which I loved. Give me your thoughts on this, Robert, because I know that this was something that you were incredibly hyped about.
Yeah. Yeah. It it exceeded my expectations. I guess you could say like, and my expectations were already like high. We've collectively been hyping the series up, on TBA, and because we love the unique studios publisher. We love the content that Roye and his team have put out over the years, but this one is definitely special. Um, and watching the premiere, and I need to catch up with the fourth episode, but the first 3 episodes um, was really really cool, and it's rare nowadays. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but to genuinely be like supremely hyped about something, like I'll get hyped about something like, hey, it's a new Star Trek, right? But like to be like excessively supremely excited and then having those expectations met, is kind of what I'm getting with the series.
Mhm.
And it might be because we know of Roye's journey to bring this comic to life, and a success story. But as far as the work itself, the animation is on point. The voice acting is really good. The animation, it's funny because you mentioned, we have a lot of stuff and things nowadays, which are like influenced by anime, or as far as, or kind of like inhabit that style. But this one feels like you said, it feels like a Saturday morning cartoon,
Mhm.
and it's funny because where I see it kind of breaking from that is like the action. So sometimes, this the and you see it in this trailer. Iyanu is like hopping and just kicking butt, and
Mhm.
and it's like epic. But there's a flow, like even when she's like jumping, during those fight scenes with her mentor, or when she is like, hopping, from tree to tree with some of her friends, and just like the action scene. Sorry, Lion Forge Entertainment. Um, it has like this like flow that I love, and it's not static. It's not like one beat,
Yes.
2 beat, 3 beat. And I love that about it. The humor definitely is it. I think it appeals to a younger demographic, but then there's also moments where you have like the political intrigue, of this world,
Mhm.
which I think could be for like kind of a teenage to like older set. So for them to combine it all in a such a way that I think that kids and adults and just families overall will be able to enjoy it, this action fantasy epic is nothing short of like masterful. So I think that this has a bright future. I saw because I want to give credit where it's due. There was I think it was a comic CBR, in a review for this, said that this was like the mashup of like Black Panther meets Avatar. So you have I think it
Mhm.
was CBR, and I think it was like Brandon Easton, the story editor or story lead writer on the series, who shared it, and it's a kind of a perfect kind of melding of that, as far as like the two things that, if you're familiar with those, this is what you're getting with this. It's So I've enjoyed what I've watched. I hope that, and as it compares to the comic book, that first episode, and it's like it feels as if it's kind of beat for beat with the comic book. So it's like there's not too much of a. It's there are differences, there are changes definitely, but the dialogue, the conversations, the conflict, the character development, it's still there. Everything's on point. So if you're a fan of the comic book, you're getting an interpretation of that material in a new medium, but it's also familiar enough that you'll be like, okay, this is what I've grown to love, know and love with the comic book series, the graphic novels. So a little bit, it's even just that, like that, just that fight scene is like, I feel like a little capoeira, was in there, but I know that there's more to it with the fights, and you have the epic magic, and I could talk about this for hours on end. It was a good start. It was a good premiere, and hopefully I want to see her Iyanu story told for many seasons, or as many seasons are needed to tell her story. So,
well, I mean, there are 4 trades out, so we can get a lot of stories and possibly more to come, or even stories that haven't been written yet that can be a part of the story. And there's a whole universe there, which is awesome. What I loved about this is the outpouring of everyone supporting, sharing, talking about this, getting all up in the business of this. I absolutely loved seeing it, and the praise and love, and people who may not have known about it but finding out from social media about it, even though it's been marketed really well. And when I started seeing people like just hey, I was seeing people like, hey, go watch Iyanu. Loved it. Watched all 3 episodes. Can't wait for more. Watch the first 2 episodes, but I wasn't able to watch the third. I got to get home quick so I can watch that third. Like, just seeing this outpouring of love all over, whether it was social media or even from the mainstream press. And I love the fact that it's been covered like that, from the animation to the story to even the opening theme being showcased. I love that outpouring, and I love this is what we need when we get behind our creators. I'm not saying you have to like everything that's out there. You can't. I like movies. I don't like every single movie. But when you see that there is a Black creator doing something positive, doing something that is for the culture, doing something that is about the culture, doing it with people that are of the culture, and it's something that is a quality thing, even if you're not into it, you can go, you know what? This looks dope, or it looks cool, whatever. It might not be my thing, but I want this person to win. I want them to not just survive, but I want them to thrive. And that's what's up. And maybe you do take a look at it and go, oh, it's not what I thought it was going to be, and then watch it. So I love that outpouring. Let's keep that consistency going. Let's not just do it with the first and then drop off. Let's keep it going, because this is awesome. You can watch it on Max, and it's streaming the next. Excuse me. You can watch it on Cartoon Network, and then it's streaming the next day on Max. You know what I mean? So that's great. Like I said, the first 3 episodes were up. Now we have episode 4 is up. So this is awesome. I was just really in awe. I was in chills. I had, like, within 5 minutes, I was wondering what was wrong with my face, and I was smiling so hard because I was like I say, this is a Saturday morning feel, and I'm still I'm someone who was raised by Saturday mornings. That was the day. Like, that was when it was like you were working a 9 to 5 over. You had to kick your shoes off. You were wearing your PJs. You watched those cartoons. I was the kid who Fridays before new seasons, I would watch, that Friday special on NBC or ABC or what have you, where they'd have a rundown of the comics that are the cartoons that are going to be coming out. That was me. So this had a very special feeling for me. And seeing this incredible comic that is the first animated foray out of Unique, and it's based on a young Black African girl with powers. And her journey and everything. And I was like, normally you would have a story that would be centered on a male character. Like, they could have easily done EXO. Easily. But I think Iyanu connects more with us, honestly, because of the vibe and the flow, and it being which is annoying to me, the chosen one, thing. And just that it's a family thing. You can be across any age and enjoy this. I think was a masterful stroke for that. I love the animation style, and like you said, it is fluid. It feels good, and it's nice to have different types of animation. Not everything has to be anime influenced. Even though I love anime, I think this was a masterstroke. Absolutely loved it. The people involved are all heavy hitters, just dastardly with it. So it is no surprise that this is at the quality level that it is at.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to everyone who was involved. And
Yeah.
folks, I always try to say this, at least I try to remember it. If you love the adaptation, if you're digging it, if you're vibing with it, if this is your first foray into Unique and you want to learn more, go to the website, uniquestudios.com. Check them out. Go into your local comic book shop and ask them, hey, I just saw Iyanu, Child of Wonder. I really enjoyed it. Do you have that or anything else from Unique? And check them out. Seriously. It's always great to enjoy the animated stuff or live action adaptations, video games, whatever it is. It's always cool. Keep doing that. But go to the source material and you'll find so many more stories that are dope. And the art will be incredible. The writing will be dynamic and you will feel so much more immersed in it. I always love seeing the two mediums and how you were able to adapt this scene into that. I didn't think it could happen, and it does. So please do that. Go to your local comic book shops and ask for them. Or if you don't have a shop that's near you, go online. There's websites you can check, or just go to uniquestudios.com and check them out. And check out more because there's a bunch of other books. Malika, EXO, Windmaker.
Maker, yeah.
There's a whole bunch of stuff there. Yeah, and it's all dope. And there's more than like one arc. There's like a library there. There's a library, so you can go and check that out. And please do. I was just very. Yeah, that was cool. It was just very like even now I'm still thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, I was sitting there like literally smiling, and I didn't realize what was wrong with my face. Like I was like, what is? And I realized I was smiling so hard from just joy. So that makes me feel good.
It feels good to be happy.
It does, and we really don't think about that a lot. We really don't. When it's something that's like, wow, that was good. It was cool, and I can talk about it, and I want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else I want to talk about? I want to talk about this character who. This is a one shot. I thought this was going to be a miniseries, but it was a one shot. I was disappointed at the end. I was like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to be getting a Disney Plus live action series soon, and that is Ironheart. Yes, Miss Ironheart. So, this was a excuse me. This was a one shot. Like I said, I thought it was going to be a damn series. I was highly upset. So we got a series years ago. That was from viewing, which I was so awesome about. Ironheart is Riri Williams. She basically retro designed her armor from Tony Stark's Iron Man armor and became the hero Ironheart. She even took over for Tony for a while, correct? When Tony was lost or he was presumed dead.
I think so.
Which was amazing. And now she's back in this one shot, which is called Bad Chemistry. And this is from one of like the writers. I did not realize that this was him until I was like, oh, wow, great. John Jennings did writing. We have Jethro Morales as artist. Andrew Dahlhaus is the color artist. We have VC Ariana Mayer is the letterer. So basically this continues from another story, which I had not read. Now, Riri has been a champion, an Avenger. So she's got like some heavy hitter stuff. Like she's a part of, I want to say she's part of like, as far as like the younger generation, she's part of the new Holy Trinity. It's her, I would say Miles Morales, obviously.
Yeah.
And I would have said a Nova, but I don't know if Nova still has his powers. I'm trying to remember the Nova's name. It was obviously not Rick, but it was a younger Nova. They were like that Trinity because they were part of the Champions and they were part of the Young Avengers too. They were like the next generation. So basically, this is the story. She's back in Chicago, which is where she's from. Shout out, Robert.
Shout out.
And it's her trying to get a hold of this supervillain called Chem, which they're looking for the Philosopher's Stone.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, and it gets kind of crazy from there, where Chem uses like chemicals and is able to transmute things. Obviously, with the Philosopher's Stone and alchemy, thing like that. Unfortunately, no equivalent exchange. If you get that joke, thank you. If you don't, then you don't. It honestly wasn't for you. After a while, we realized that Kem is working with someone else, the controller. There's a twist at the end that I wasn't expecting, and it made me actually feel really sad. I was like, oh, because the whole time you're thinking one thing,
Yeah.
and then your emotions are kind of dashed. I was like, oh, geez. So it's basically, so the story is she's going after Kem. Kim's looking for the Philosopher's Stone, so she's going to like different museums and stealing items, and then she finds the Philosopher's Stone. She integrates it as part of her suit, and she turns a lot of the city into glass, and even the people into glass. And she has to, Riri has to go and actually find Kem's estranged father, who he didn't even know she existed. And he was a hero. Excuse me, he was a villain back in the day. Who was doing horrible things as well, but then he reformed, but then his brother took over, and now he's in jail while her father is trying to redeem himself by doing work for the people, with the people. He works at a prosthetics lab, I want to say, too.
Cool.
And I'm not going to tell everything, but by the end of the story, you want to see Kem again, because Kem is a very interesting character, someone who, even when the truth is there, they don't want to believe it because they're so rooted in their anger and hatred and malice and not wanting to acknowledge or have accountability that I did all this and I was wrong. Riri is always a fan favorite. Obviously, we got a taste of her in Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
With the what was it she said? Your ashy ass scalp. That whole scene, the way they mess with Okoye was unnecessary. My man said, "You bald-headed demon," and the theater blew up. I was like, "Can we rewind that?" Because that was unnecessary. That had to be ad-lib or something. I don't know. Then she was like, "Well, with your ashy ass scalp," and she was like, "Yo, y'all gonna stop talking about my head immediately."
And then she goes to Wakanda, and then the Queen. It wasn't her movie.
But that was such a heartfelt thing. I hope that we get a new series for Ironheart. I love it. She has this new live action series coming out, which I hope we get. As always, something I've come up with is the Pomaris scale, which I asked myself 4 questions during the comic. If one of the answers is no, I stop reading the comic immediately because it's not worth the time. This one, I didn't even have time to ask the questions because I was already thrown into it, and I cared about everything that was going on. I was intrigued. I was invested, and yeah, this was really a fun one for me. And like I said, I want to see that villain again because I felt her, and I was like, oh, like, how did she go so wrong? So yeah, definitely one to check out and read. I'll show you. And just I also love the different hairstyles.
That's what I was going to say with that last page that you had up. Like, it was like 4 different hairstyles.
For real.
Just on 2 pages.
Yeah, because Riri has a different hairstyle from what I'm used to her doing. I've never seen Kem before. And then that's the brother that's in prison, who is Kem's uncle, and then Kem's father is the one with the beard. But like I said, he didn't know about her. The uncle knew about her and actually poisoned her even more against her father.
Wow.
It gets really deep and dark, and it's like trauma and everything that's involved. And I was like, damn. And this is her like actually integrating the stone into her suit, and that's her turning, like, she's able to transmute everything. She turns, like I said, she turns parts of the city and the people into glass. And then there's like this fight at the end. There's like this fight where Riri just goes off and is like, enough. This is my city. Not going to do this. So yeah, definitely one that I would recommend going check out is Ironheart, Bad Chemistry. I would hope we're going to be getting more. Please let us have more.
I love it.
Yeah. What we both loved, I believe, which is one that you're going to be talking about right now, is Absolute Green Lantern from the Absolute line, which is DC's answer to the Ultimate line.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess, yeah.
So I think for the past few months, I've been hearing about absolute Batman and absolute Superman and Wonder Woman, but a lot about absolute Batman. It's just
Yeah.
you got to check it out. You got to check it out. And I not that I wasn't like interested in like in any of those titles, and I think even now we have Absolute Flash and Absolute Martian Manhunter, which were I think a part of this new like release, kind of release schedule of like phase 2 or whatever you want to call it. But the one that I was most hyped about was Green Lantern. And I don't know if it's necessarily because I am 24/7 on a space opera kick, or I just I love the idea of Green Lantern or that I'm a Joe fan, Joe Moline fan. But the thing so all that in addition to this being an absolute book, which is like you said, like Ultimate Marvel, it's a fresh take on the mythos, and it's not as bogged down. I feel sometimes you can do fresh stuff with it. So, and my God, so this, I didn't know. I had a basic gist of like what was going to happen. But I didn't know like everything, and once again, pleasantly surprised. The book focuses on, Hal Jordan, John Stewart to kind of a certain extent, and Joel, I think it's Moline or Mullen from Far Sector fame, and how the introduction of, I think it's Abin Sur, and the arrival of this alien in their universe, so Abin Sur and the Green Lanterns, what effect it has. And this issue is primarily Hal Jordan's, and you see him struggling with the events that happened. I think it's called Evergreen City, someplace in California. It's not the normal spot where they normally are, but the issue plays up more like I've seen it described as cosmic horror. So it's like a mashup of sci-fi and horror. And there's this, you see him, and I want to talk about the issue without telling about the issue, because there are some like very very like unexpected surprises that happened that had me like, oh, okay. Tragedy, rather than how things have played out in the regular continuity, and I put air quotes around because the continuity of DC Comics has been like turned upside down so many dang on times. But the traditional origin is that a Green Lantern crash lands on Earth. Hal Jordan finds him. The Green Lantern says, "You have to have no fear." I'm really like downplaying it, and that's how Jordan gets the ring. That ain't the case here. And if anything, when we see what happens to Hal, it is something that is borderline tragic, and so that's all I really want to say. The writing is good. It's Al Ewing. Al Ewing is always going to be one of my favorites when it comes to comic books, especially his time spent on the Ultimates with Marvel Comics, with the dream team of Black Panther, Carol Danvers, Spectrum, America Chavez, and Blue Marvel. So I love that series. He's done a lot of really good stuff, but definitely check out Al Ewing. Art, colors, and cover is by Janoy Lindsay. For me, it looks like it has kind of a manga type of style with the artwork, and I could be definitely, with it, wrong with describing it that way, but that's just kind of how it looks to me. And I also love Lewis. His name is Gattini on the letters. I did not expect the Green Lantern book to come with the horror, and that's what you get. And it feels like even like the invasion of Earth type of vibe. But you got Milady in there, Joe representing, and the covers that I've seen for this book and just her design period when she gets powered up is really, really, really beautiful to watch. So definitely give it a shot. I love the first issue. and it was creepy, and I did not expect that to come with reading a Green Lantern book. So definitely worth checking out. And if this is any representation of Absolute, I'll be picking up the other books probably in trade later, but this one I'm keeping up with. Yep, you see that? It is it is hard. So, but yeah, that's I enjoyed it. Had a good time with it.
Yeah, it definitely has that horror feel to it, and it feels like it almost makes sense. But nobody's
Mhm.
ever done it, I think, really to go horror route of like that horror sci-fi invasion route with
Yeah,
Green Lantern. It hasn't. But that's why I loved it. Yeah, this was great because the whole time it was Hal, and I was like, come on, come on, man. But then everybody, wherever he went, people died, and I was like, what the?
yes,
And he never took his hand out of his pocket, and I was like,
yep,
what's in that pocket? And like, what's? And you know what's something that didn't even dawn on me until now the ring that keeps showing up is similar to
yeah,
the ring
yep.
in
It's
the
like,
movies, and I didn't realize that until looking at it right now, and I'm like, that's why that looks so familiar. Yeah, this was a definite surprise. I loved it. I got it because of Joe. Joe was on the cover. I said,
yeah,
Joe better be
yep.
in this damn book. If
Hmm.
Joe ain't in this book, we riot. We burn it all this down. We burn it all down. And but I love the fact that how in horror movies, in this beginning, you see like the path of destruction that happens, and then you meet the final girl.
Yep.
You meet the main character, the lead character, or you are a character that you think might be the main,
Hmm.
or a character that you don't realize is the main until you go, oh wait, everybody else is dead. Oh, you were the main character the whole time. Something like that. So I loved it. And yeah, this was great. I've read 3 of the Ultimate titles. I've read Ultimate, excuse me, Absolute,
Yeah.
apologize. Absolute Wonder Woman. I read the first issue and it was incredible. I want to read more of it, but like I said, there's a lot going on my plate. And I read Absolute Flash, which was, I love the fact of getting in on a speedster title at
Hmm.
the beginning. Because
Okay.
if you go, oh, I want to start reading the Flash, I'm like, where? Like,
Yep.
where do you start with the Flash?
Yeah.
There's so many different points that you can read.
Too many.
Um, there's so many, you know what I mean? So I like this, and I like the fact of how that one was very messed up too, very psychological, but also has to do a lot with how he interacted with his father
Hmm.
on military bases, because they go from military base to military base because his father
Yeah.
was a scientist. So I love what they're doing with this. I've heard Martian Manhunter is very trippy because of the colors. Do
Yeah.
not be under the influence of anything and read it, because you may not come out of that book right because of how the colors are used. Superman with her was very interesting. Batman, I think everybody was like you say, was real hyped about Batman. I'm like,
Yeah.
could take it or leave it, honestly. But yeah, this one was a favorite because of that aspect, and of the why does he never take his hand out of his pocket.
Yeah.
And if you go back and after you read, I like to look back at comics sometimes and look back and go, yeah, I never noticed that. You never take it.
Hmm.
And then you go, oh, that it was there the whole time and I didn't realize that. Storytelling is becoming very particular with those little details, and I'm absolutely loving the fact that people are doing that, because it makes
Yeah.
you go back just like you would with a movie. Like if it was The Usual Suspects,
Yeah.
or if it was Knives Out, um, like any of those movies with a like a murder mystery kind of feel or vibe, Memento, and
Yeah.
you go back, you rewatch it, and you go, oh, it's there, oh, it's oh, it's there, oh, and anything like that. So this was definitely one that I will. Yeah, I'm definitely keeping up with this title. I was so happy to read that first issue, and I did get a couple of the variants because they're
Yeah.
beautiful. They're utterly beautiful, and just seeing Joe in just with all the energy of the ring, and I'm wondering how the rings are going to play out, and I, yeah, I was all definitely worth it. It just is like it's really cool to enjoy the stuff that you like.
Yep.
It's crazy. It's crazy, right? Crazy. It's crazy how that happens. Like crazy. Like you actually enjoy things. What I also enjoyed was the return of Bitter Root of the Next Movement. I don't know what I can say about this one. I mean, first off, you have some of my favorite creators on this
Mm-hmm.
book. Um, so this is Bitterroot. This is a continuation, excuse me, of the smash hit Bitterroot that was from Image, which is the story of the Sangri family. I hope I'm saying that the name right. Um,
I think you are.
I hope I am.
Yeah.
Hope I'm not butchering that. The creators are David F. Walker, Chuck Brown, and Sanford Green, who again are all heavy hitters. They
Mm-hmm.
bring ruckus, wreck, just the dastardly. I've gotten a chance to meet David F. Walker a couple times, spoken to him. One of the nicest guys. Always appreciate his candor about just personal life, things that are happening, and then also work. I saw Sanford Green actually drawing. This was before Bitterroot came out, and they're like, "Yeah, well, Bitterroot's coming out," and I was like, "Oh, what's that about?" And it was like, "I can tell you a little bit, but this is gonna be something big." So, cool. Bet I have not had a chance to meet Chuck Brown, but I've read plenty of books, and these are awesome. So they are the creators and writers, such like that. We have Matt Herms as coloring. We have Hassan Atsman Alaho for lettering, and we have Shelley Bond on editor. What I also love too is that they always have these like afterwards,
Yeah.
after the issues, to tell you more about cultural relevance of things like that. And John Jennings was a part of this, and
Yeah.
he's a Bitter Truth editor, which I love that in the back of the books where they have that. I think that's awesome. Oh, Trad Moore did a variant. I did not know that. Okay, so we're jumping ahead in time after the initial series, where everything's happening in Harlem and Harlem Renaissance time. There's a bit of a lull, but you know something else is coming. I'm not going to tell you why. Go read that series if you have not. Go read that. Go watch Lovecraft Country, and then get your tickets early for Sinners. I got mine. So we're jumping ahead in time. We're in 1964, Mississippi. So you know there's about to be some foolishness with black folks. Let's just be honest. So we have this bus of all these the Freedom Riders, and they get stopped by the cops. So we know it's going to be some BS, and there's an attack. Everyone is murdered except for three people. Then we jump back to Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
I can already smell the cooking and seasoning in Melba's. I can already smell it up in Harlem. And we meet this generation of Sangri at their Sangri Healing Emporium. I love that they have a healing emporium. I just love like that feel. And we see a familiar character, Blink, who is here. So we have some of the younger characters who are in the book, and the older characters have passed, but then we have their children. So we're still getting that family vibe to it. And everything that's supposedly happened, the government is pushed under the rug. When have they ever done that? Um, and they're in a way, so the government knows that they are the Jinyu are out there, which are the monsters that they fight. They're like demons, let's say. They know that they're out there. Um, and we jump right ahead into this. And even again, the art is always ridiculous. Sanford needs to stop for about a month and just relax. It's just it's you think his art is banging, and then you see him again. You're like, how did you level up like that? I love seeing that from creatives when you level up like Vegeta in the damn hyperbolic chamber. You've been pushing weight, and I love it. I love the character designs, how they update fashion. I'm always interested in character designs and the fashions that they wear, hairstyles, everything. I'm very into um, that look and feel of it. And they they send down some more family to go down to Mississippi to investigate what happened, while the government is actually there investigating as well. And we start to get a little bit of a backstory of the Sangri and what happened for people who may not have read it. But if you haven't read it, again, I implore you, go back and read that initial series. It was something that's when that came out, it was incredible. It was something different. It was just something that hit. So it's basically the government is trying to figure it out. The local cops are trying to figure it out, and the Sangre are there to really figure everything out. But meanwhile, having them looking over their shoulders, knowing full fact that there are
Mm-hmm.
monsters out there. I'm not going to give you the ending, but it turns out that there are 3 people who did survive, and they're trying to run through the woods trying to escape, and it is not pretty. Again, I recommend this. This is one of my favorite titles. I would definitely recommend reading the original series along with this. And like I said, along with this, I would pair Lovecraft Country, Crescent City Monsters, which is another dastardly one. Newton and Giancarlo are monsters for even creating that series. You guys did such a phenomenal job with it. But seeing Bitterroot back was beautiful. I was so happy with its return, and it did not disappoint. I want to see more of what's happening, and I love seeing their technology too. I want to see how the technology that they have made is as advanced. So I'm excited about this. Bitterroot, Image, incredible team. Go check them out, please.
Looks amazing.
The colors too are just very. They're always. Oh, I need y'all to relax. Like sit down and have a little couple, coffee or some cocoa. Mellow out. Like your art is just. But I love seeing that. I love seeing that. But I also love seeing another Green Lantern title. Yes, folks, there's a whole bunch of them. Might even say a core, possibly.
We got more. We got more of the core. So there's series premiered like it's a TV series, but a few months ago, I think we were like 3 issues in now, but this reviewing the second issue. But as a part of the All-In, I guess launch, the Green Lantern Corps was, I guess, relaunched, because I think that they've had series with this, its previous name, but it's the Corps is now being led by John Stewart. So without having the background of everything that preceded this, because I think this is kind of one of those branches of, what was the event with Amanda Waller, where
Absolute Power, which is what linked into Absolute. This is not linked to Absolute. This is main continuity.
So whatever that, the event that where Amanda Waller got locked up for doing some shady stuff. This is kind of branching out of that. So the series is just focusing on the Corps dealing with the intergalactic threats or the issues that arise throughout the universe. And there's something very beautiful about seeing all of these characters together and just kind of interacting. So you have Guy Gardner, you have a Kilowog, you have your Joe Malin. You have, I think the dude's name is Razor, the guy he's from the animated series, the Green Lantern who becomes he becomes a Red Lantern, but in this series he is now a Green Lantern. Yeah, so in this issue, John and the Corps have been summoned to help out Hawk. Is it Hawk Woman or Hawk Girl? Always.
I'm gonna say I believe it's woman. Well, I want it to be woman, so I was a woman.
So Hawk Woman, she's grown woman. So Hawk Woman to investigate.
It actually says Hawk Woman there too. So yeah, all right, cool.
Okay. Yeah. So investigate something that's happening on Thanagar, which has been like completely demolished and just blown up. Like it just, like you said, the ruins of Thanagar. And there's, without giving too much away, they discover that Atrocitus and a group of former Red Lanterns are there. And not saying that they necessarily did they have something to do with what happened with Thanagar, or is there something else at play? But either way, the Green Lantern Corps and these Red Lanterns clash, and you got shenanigans that happen. So I think the series is doing it. One of the things that I love is that you're seeing the lanterns being pulled in different directions, because they're cops, they're intergalactic cops, and within the face of it seems like out of this larger event that happened, there's there's a lot going on. So with this one, I love that we travel to a new world. We're not just on the Green Lantern home world, or at least base planet, and you even get a chance to see Hawkwoman. And it's really cool seeing her interaction with John, because if you're familiar with their history, at least in the animated series, you kind of get a little bit of that here. Atrocitus is kind of one of my favorite antagonists when it comes to the Lantern mythos. So seeing him and his, I always say, like, really kind of twisted looking, Red Lanterns, because they're nightmarish. So seeing them clash with the Green Lanterns was also fun. But this is another series where I'm on this space opera kick. You're in space, you have intergalactic battles, you get destroyed, home worlds and all of that. And it's not just like fighting crime on Earth, which is not a bad thing. But when it comes to the Lanterns, I'm like, get them away from Earth, like, as much as possible. So, and I'm getting that with the series. But wanted to say shout out to the team working on this. It's Jeremy Adams, Morgan Hampton, and Morgan Hampton is a graduate of the most recent, I think it was a Milestone DC Comics Writers Workshop. This is from a few years ago, and and he's been doing really solid work with the series, but with DC Period, but also it looks like Fernando Parcerin is on the pencils, Oklar Albert on inks, and Arif Prianto on colors, and Dave Sharp on letters. It's a beautiful looking book. Just look at that one page spread, with just the destruction of that planet. That's insane. That's insane detail. It is beautiful. So if you're looking for something which is more cosmic, with a little bit of mystery and some action, I highly recommend checking out Green Lantern Corps. And if you just want to see that team interacting and working together, I would definitely check it out. That's a beautifully drawn book too.
Yeah, the Runes of Thanagar is just captivating to me. Like, when I scrolled down and you were saying it, and I was like, oh, it's probably just, I wasn't expecting this level of devastation, but also like this just, it's not even the fact that it's in pieces, like that. It's like, like how sometimes when they show a planet, it's like just little bits. The fact that it looks like it's like a chunk of it.
Yeah.
It seems even more devastating to me, because it's like the people who might still be living there are having to deal with whatever cataclysmic events are happening when your world is thrown off its axis, and everything is just thrown out of disarray, and realizing there's no way off the planet right now because everything is just done. That's but the detail in that, from drawing an actual planet, then drawing the crumbles, then drawing the core, and drawing that's just because you can feel it almost floating in space. Like, that's how, because there's like layers to that. It's almost like 3D art, which I love when that happens, when you can feel it like coming through the page. That's so I have to get issue 2 then. Fair enough, Robert. There you go. Take the money right out of my pocket, Robert. Right out of my money.
That's what we're here for. We suggest things that get us both to spend money.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, that's what we do. And hopefully y'all are spending a little bit of money with these comics too that we've thrown at you. So, I mean, this has been a nice little mix of comics. You did get 2 Green Arrows. 2 Green Lantern titles, but you got 1 Absolute, and you got 1 of the Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
Different continuities.
And that's the thing that I'm loving.
Just remember that
you have 2 different options, right? For people who are like, well, I want to stick with the regular mainline continuity, which is, kind of like, we could have a discussion about that. But the Absolute is a fresh start, so I don't complain. It's a different take on, I mean, you could have constructive criticism, but don't go into it saying like, Hal wouldn't do this. And it's just like, well, this is not mainstream Hal.
But it's also, if you don't like it, then don't read it.
I mean, that's easier done for a lot of people, right?
There's Hal books out there.
A plethora
of them. Good God, there's a lot of Hal books.
A lot of them.
There's even a movie.
He's leading a TV show that's coming up, right?
I mean, so yeah, so there's plenty of that. So you got the so we got some street level stuff.
Yeah.
We got some space opera, cosmic action and devastation. We've got some supernatural horror.
Yes.
We got a fantastic Saturday morning cartoon feel vibe going here. I mean, that's a pretty nice spread, folks. I would say that that's a pretty nice spread
Mhm.
of different comics and everything out there for you. There you go. There will be more comics always and forever. Good, my goodness. More comics will be out there. We will have more updates, news, reviews, maybe even some lists coming up, possibly.
Yeah.
It's all open. Okay, so let us know what you liked. Let us know what you're reading. Tell us what you're reading and what's hitting your wallet very hard. I know I was at my comic book shop today, and I was like, "Oh, there's a GI Joe silent issue where it's about him Spirit,"
Oh well. Okay.
which I said he should have gotten a miniseries just like Duke, Scarlet, Cobra Commander, and Destro got because he's a very underrated character who is very interesting. And I thought maybe a 4 or 5 issue miniseries of him would have been dope. I would have loved that. There was what else came out? Zatanna #3 came out. Amazing series.
With Jamal Campbell, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I don't know what dude,
He.
he on some other stuff, man. He's
I, yeah. I had listened to an interview with him and N.K. Jemisin,
yes.
about Far Sector, and I
Hmm.
want to say at that point it was a series that he was talking
Yeah.
about doing. So I'm glad to see, like you said, you're 3 issues in. He's a talented storyteller. Period.
And it's a murder mystery, kind of, sort of, maybe
Okay.
with
Okay.
magic and everything. I just love how because first off, his art is just staggeringly beautiful.
Hmm.
And then when you find out that he's written everything, because before this he was working Superman.
Yeah.
I also love the fact that I'm seeing more artists um, getting into the writing game, getting into the more creative game, and being a part of that, and then like doing both. I think that way their vision truly comes out in the
Hmm.
words, so it's one stream of consciousness. I mean, you can have an incredible bond, like you can with Far Sector, with
Yeah.
Jemison and Campbell, which was incredible. But I love seeing that and seeing them level themselves up because I want to see what they're coming out with.
Yeah.
Um, Nicholas Draper Ivy.
Yeah.
I always feel like I get his name backwards, and I hate that.
You did better than me. Like you
Fair enough.
did.
He's coming up with some stuff too,
Yeah.
and he had a lot. The second volume of Static, he had a lot to do with that creatively.
Mm.
And I was like, put this man in the room when you are doing milestone stuff.
Yeah.
Anything live action, put him in the room. He
Yeah.
needs to be there. He's earned being there because his stuff was crazy. And seeing him going that. So I love seeing that. I love seeing people go into different formats, go into different mediums, and level themselves up in their already incredible skills, and then learning a new skill that can add on to that other skill,
Mm.
which is crazy. I really love the both sides of the defense on comics and creatives, but that's just my particular thing, folks. Look, we hope you had a very good time with us, spending this time with us. I don't know why I said this time with us twice. I don't know. Doesn't make That's how, because I want you to have a very good time with us. That's 3 times. All right. Just, yeah, whatever. So, a lot of comics. Go out, check out your local comic book shop, see what they've got going on. If you don't know what you're looking for, tell them, hey, this is what I like, boom, boom, boom. And they'll be more than happy to recommend something. Or if you trust us more, come to us and say, hey, this is what I like. I checked this out. What else can you recommend? And we will have some really cool choices for you. Maybe we'll do an episode of comics that we recommend. I'll recommend comics for you. You recommend comics for me.
There you go. That'll work.
Folks, you just got in on the writer's room. That's not really a writer's room. I would never assume that. Never. Anyway, folks, you have a very good evening. I am Antonio Pomares, aka the Hungry Bleak, and as always, with me is
I am Robert J, aka Ryder.
there you that. He does it well. He
That's
only
it.
needs writer. I need 2 words. He only needs one. That's crazy. All right, you all have a very good evening. Enjoy the rest of it. Be safe out there, and Just take care of yourselves. All right.
Yep.
See y'all later. Peace.